$2,000. That's the figure being talked about in Washington right now. And if you're a senior living on a fixed income, it may be the most significant number you've heard all week. Because what's under discussion in private meetings at the White House and on Capitol Hill is not just another talking point. It's a proposed direct cash payment linked to Trump's tariff policy, with retirees squarely in focus. Here's the situation. The tariffs imposed on imports from countries like China, Mexico, Canada, and many others are bringing in very large sums of money to the federal government. Hundreds of billions of dollars in additional revenue flowing into the U.S. Treasury. And there's an active debate over what to do with it. One of the most prominent ideas is to send rebate checks straight to Americans, particularly lower-income households, to help offset the higher prices those tariffs are contributing to on everyday items. The cost of groceries, prescriptions, appliances, clothing, and other essentials that seniors on limited incomes purchase every month has been rising, in part because of tariff-driven inflation, and officials inside the administration are well aware of it. What sets this apart from background noise is that Trump himself has publicly discussed the possibility of using tariff proceeds to fund payments to households. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has been involved in those conversations, and several members of Congress have drafted proposals that specifically highlight seniors and lower-income Americans as intended recipients. This isn't a rumor. It's a real legislative discussion unfolding right now in 2026. And Senior Money USA is monitoring each development so you don't have to comb through endless articles trying to figure out what's actually happening. Now, about that $2,000 number everyone's asking about. It comes from multiple proposals circulating in Congress that envision one-time payments ranging roughly from $1,200 up to $2,000, with the higher figure drawing the most attention because supporters argue that the check needs to be large enough to meaningfully counteract the extra out-of-pocket costs tariffs are creating. If you're paying an additional $150 to $200 a month for food, household items, and medications, a small check won't go very far. A $2,000 payment could provide real relief. That's the case being made by those backing the higher amount, and it has gained momentum. The crucial question seniors have is, who would actually qualify? That's where details matter. The versions of the proposal that have advanced the furthest so far use income limits. For single seniors, most drafts set eligibility somewhere in the $40,000 to $50,000 annual income range. For married couples, the limits land around $75,000 to $80,000. In practical terms, that means if your income mainly consists of Social Security, a modest pension, and perhaps small withdrawals from retirement savings, you're likely to fall within those brackets. Most older adults living on fixed incomes do. And this is where things have shifted recently. Earlier iterations of these ideas focused mainly on working-age families with children, with retirees not treated as a priority. Advocacy organizations representing older Americans pushed back, pointing out that seniors are often hit hardest by tariff-related price increases because such a large share of their monthly spending goes to the very categories most affected: food, medicine, and basic household supplies. That pressure has had an impact. Newer drafts explicitly include seniors as a key group, and some even propose an extra senior bonus on top of the base amount. That's what people mean when they say seniors have been added to the list. The change is very recent and came out of this round of negotiations. As for how the money would actually reach you if this passes, the leading idea is to use the IRS as the delivery mechanism, similar to the COVID stimulus payments. If you file a tax return or receive Social Security and the IRS already has your bank information, your payment would go in by direct deposit. If not, a physical check would be mailed to your address. There's also talk of providing a simple online or phone option for seniors who don't normally file taxes, much like the non-filer portals set up during the pandemic, with the goal of avoiding complicated paperwork and making the system as automatic as possible for those who qualify. Is any of this guaranteed? No. And here's where Senior Money USA will always be candid. Nothing has been enacted into law yet. Trump has expressed support for the concept of tariff rebates, and there is real movement in Congress, but no bill has cleared all votes or been signed. It is, however, advancing through the legislative process, and we're covering it at this stage because when big changes tied to tariffs move quickly, and tariff-related measures are moving quickly in 2026, those who know what's happening early are better prepared. You don't want to discover you were eligible for a payment only after the enrollment period has closed. To prepare now, you should make sure your information is current with the IRS. If your mailing address has changed, update it. If you've never provided direct deposit details, consider doing so on the IRS website or by phone. If you receive Social Security, your basic payment information is on file, but it still makes sense to confirm that your bank account data is up to date with the Social Security Administration. These are simple steps that can spell the difference between getting funds quickly and waiting weeks for a paper check. There's also a broader backdrop that makes this discussion more serious. The amount of tariff revenue the government is collecting at the moment is unusually large, reflecting higher and wider-ranging tariffs than the U.S. has seen in many decades. That pile of money, combined with rising prices, has created significant pressure on lawmakers to show that at least some of it is being routed back to citizens rather than just sitting in government accounts while households struggle with higher costs. Both parties are keenly aware that older voters turn out in high numbers, and any elected official looking at the political landscape can see that providing tangible relief to seniors before the next election is likely to be popular as well as defensible policy. That alignment of policy and politics is one reason this idea has more traction than other big-ticket proposals. On top of the federal conversation, some states, particularly those with large retiree populations, are exploring their own versions of tariff relief, which would be separate from any federal payment. So if you live in a state like Florida, Arizona, Pennsylvania, or Michigan, you should also watch for announcements at the state level, because there could be additional programs that stack on top of whatever Washington eventually does. One common concern we're hearing is whether such payments might interfere with existing benefits like Medicaid, SNAP, food assistance, or SSI. That's a serious issue, and based on the current language circulating in draft bills, the intent is to structure these rebates similarly to the pandemic stimulus checks, meaning they would not be counted as income for the purposes of determining eligibility for other programs. That provision isn't final until something is signed, but senior advocates have focused heavily on it, and recent bill language reflects their efforts. Staying connected to Senior Money USA is one of the best ways to track these changes, because the moment there's a vote, a presidential signature, an enrollment portal opening, or any change in what you must do, we'll cover it in clear terms, explaining what's happened, what's still uncertain, and what actions, if any, you should consider. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because some of these updates will come quickly and may involve deadlines. These potential payments are, at their core, about returning some of the money that tariffs are pulling out of your household budget every month. And right now, seniors are at the center of that policy conversation. $2,000 is the headline number. Senior Money USA is here to help you understand exactly what it means for you if and when it becomes real. Before you click away, there's one more important point. You're watching Senior Money USA for a reason, not by accident. You know that in times like these, the difference between getting information early and finding out too late can literally be the difference between receiving money you're entitled to and missing out. That's what this channel is designed to prevent. Mainstream coverage often mentions these topics briefly, mixes them into broader political debates, and moves on, leaving out practical details like who's eligible, what steps are required, and how it might interact with the benefits you already receive. We step into that gap by focusing directly on seniors, fixed incomes, and retirement benefits. And 2026 is shaping up to be unusually important for senior finances, with tariff issues, Social Security adjustments, Medicare changes, and other proposals all in motion at once. Relying on occasional headlines won't keep you fully up to date. You need a source tuned specifically to your situation. So, if you haven't subscribed, please do so now and set your notifications to all, not just the default, so you don't miss time-sensitive updates. If you're already part of this community, thank you, and consider sharing this video with someone else on a fixed income who might benefit. We read the comments and use your questions to decide what to cover next, so let us know where you're watching from, whether you're on Social Security alone or have other income sources, and what you'd like us to clarify, especially about how tariff rebates could affect you or your other benefits. There are also 2 related videos on this channel you should watch next. One explaining the Social Security changes taking effect in 2026 and how they may alter monthly payments, and another detailing this year's Medicare cost adjustments and ways to offset them. Watching those back to back with this video will give you a far better picture of your financial landscape than most seniors have. Senior Money USA will keep showing up week after week, sometimes more often when events move quickly, focusing only on what affects seniors' income, benefits, and security. No fluff, no partisan agenda, just clear explanations of what's changing and what you may need to do. You worked hard to earn your benefits. You paid into these systems for years, and you deserve to know exactly what's available to you and how to access it.